Boys and girls, this is Benjamin Bok Choi welcoming you back to another episode of the Albon Superfan Show. Yes, I know it's been quite a while since we've released one of these episodes, but anyway, we are technically 6 rounds into a formerly 23-round schedule, but with the cancellation of Imola, we will only be seeing 22 races this season. I was going to do a first quarter review on Alex this season, but the Imola cancellation kind of threw me off. But since I wanted to wait at least 6 races before doing a review, I waited until after Monaco, so here we are. This is the Albon Superfan Show first quarter / first third season review, depending on if you want to look at this as round 6 or round 7, and if you want to say it is a 22 or 23 race season. So let's get started, and we might as well get started with Bahrain. Alex did well enough to get into Q2 at Bahrain, but damaged his front wing on his one and only run in Q2. Now, judging from his best Q1 time and the Q2 times of the other drivers, he probably would have only qualified P13 to P15 anyways, but who knows. He drove well enough to be sitting right on the border of points, and a late DNF to Leclerc saw him finishing in 10th and earning his first point of the season and first points for Williams since the shortened Japanese Grand Prix from the year before. He actually showed pretty decent pace here, being able to stay ahead of the likes of Gasly for most of the race and able to hold off a charging Tsunoda by the end of the race. And although his teammate Logan Sargent didn't finish too far behind, Alex spent most of the entire second half of the race defending against seemingly quicker cars, forcing him to take less than ideal lines and thus lap a bit slower than he would have had he had no one pushing from behind like Sargent. After a pretty unimpressive winter testing, most of the F1 world were shocked to see a Williams in the points and both drivers finishing in the middle of the field. After an ideal start to the season, round 2 at Saudi Arabia kind of brought the mood down a bit. Alex missed out on Q2 by about 0.07 of a second, though once again he probably would have only finished right around P13, P15 anyway if he made it into Q2. He started 17th, was able to get as high as P12 due to issues with other cars, but a brake issue in his Williams ended his day early on lap 27. The car gave up on him, but what we saw from him, it looked okay. He was performing much better than his rookie teammate and was a few places ahead when the car quit on him. It would have been interesting to see where he would have finished though, had his car made it through the entire race, as the drivers he was battling, the 2 Haas cars, finished P10 and P11 at the end of the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. The third race was Australia, and oh man, I had such high hopes for this race. Alex finished an unbelievable P8 on Saturday qualifying, and with 4 DRS zones, I was expecting him to finish in the points. Off the start, he was able to get the jump on a few cars and got up to P6 ahead of Lance Stroll, but it seemed like the nerves got to him a little bit. He started falling off the pace of the top 5, and with Stroll breathing down his neck in a much faster car, Alex lost it into the gravel trap on lap 7. With teammate Sargent only managing to qualify in P18, this looked like the race to prove that he most definitely deserved another chance in a winning car, but I think the nerves got to him a little bit. He was way higher than that Williams deserved to be, and with the cars ahead disappearing around the next corner and Stroll getting ever larger in the mirrors, I think his nerves just made him go off and had nothing to do with the car. Considering Gasly was able to hold off Stroll for so long, even with all those DRS zones, I think Alex could have made a huge statement here had he just held his nerve. It has been a long time since I went from such an absolute high to such an absolute low so quickly. I was really expecting points and even predicted a P9 finish, I think. And with how the race ended, who knows how many points he could have come home with, but alas, another race, another early DNF. Round 4 saw us in Azerbaijan at the Baku City Circuit in our first sprint race weekend of the season. Again, Alex qualified pretty darn well. In the sprint qualifying shootout, Alex managed to qualify P7 ahead of both Aston Martins, while his teammate Sargent only managed P15. Although Sargent was quick enough to get into SQ2, after crashing in his final SQ1 lap, he was unable to participate in SQ2. Alex seemed like he would be able to get in Q3 for the race as well, but a meandering signs on his warm-up lap ruined Alex's final Q2 run. Damn you, Carlos. Damn you to heck. Again though, Alex couldn't convert those good qualifying performances into points. He was jumped by Alonso almost right away in the sprint race to drop to P8, and with 5 laps left to go, was jumped by the other Aston Martin to drop to P9. Unfortunately for Alex, P8 was the final points-paying position in the sprint race. However, he still had a pretty solid performance in the sprint qualifying and the sprint race. On Sunday, the feature race did not go much better. After stopping really early for his first pit stop, Alex lost out on a few positions when a safety car came out soon after. He drove well enough to get back up to P12, but with the main DRS zone being shortened, overtaking was difficult for everyone, and Alex sat in a DRS train for a good chunk of the Grand Prix. Again, Alex drove well enough to far outperform his teammate. Logan did not participate in the sprint race as the team could not get his car put back together in time, but Alex managed to finish 4 spots ahead of Logan in the featured race. Round 5 at Miami looked to be a good track for the Williams. With long DRS straights, the car was expected to do better here than at other tracks on the calendar. While Sargent qualified dead last in one of his 3 home races, Alex managed to qualify P11 in just half a tenth slower than Russell and almost 2 tenths faster than Lewis Hamilton. On race day, Alex lost a position immediately to Haas driver Nico Hülkenberg, but was able to hold off Hamilton for a good amount of laps. Hamilton would ultimately get by, and Alex would get as high as P8 before his pit stop, but dropped down to P17 once he finally did stop. He would regain P12 after everyone else made their pit stops, but would be passed by Stroll and Tsunoda before the race was over. He finished 14th at the end of it all after another impressive Saturday, with his teammate finishing in dead last on Sunday. The most recent race in Monaco once again started with some hope. Alex made it out of Q1 once again, while teammate Sargent barely missed out on Q2 by half a tenth of a second. Alex would qualify P13, and, well, we all know how Monaco is. If you don't qualify in the top 10, you most likely won't finish in the top 10 unless something crazy happens. An early pit stop saw him drop to 19th, and although mistakes from other drivers gave him a few free positions, Alex couldn't really do much. He was able to stay within a second of Alfa Romeo driver Zhou Guanyu, but passing at Monaco is almost impossible, even with a much faster car. He would ultimately finish P14 with Sargent finishing in 18th, but this was never a track anyone expected either Williams car to do well at. So that is it, boys and girls, the first 6 races of the 2023 season so far, and all of Alex Albon's performances in a nutshell. Has he had a good year so far? Well, it's kind of hard to tell. He only has 1 point to his name, but has far outdriven his teammate in both qualifying and races. But then, Logan Sargent is a rookie, and a rookie that no one really had high expectations for. He finished 3rd in F3 in 2020, 7th in F3 in 2021, and 4th in F2 in 2022. Alex is supposed to be better than Logan. No one truly expected Logan to be close at all. But then, the car isn't really all that fast either. Although always one of the fastest on the straights, they are the slowest team everywhere else on track. Add to that having the lowest DRS delta on track. Even with DRS open, it's hard for the Williams to overtake. Not only that, but it seems like the Williams drivers seem to go through tires much quicker than the top teams. But it's kind of hard to tell if it's the car or the drivers that are to blame. Even in the Red Bull, Alex was always pitting much earlier than Max, and sometimes having to pit one more time than Max at every race, though some of it had to do with testing tires for Max's stints in the race. And just this past weekend at the Monaco Grand Prix, the team had Logan Sargent box for an extra set of dries to talk him through tire graining after it was obvious Sargent wasn't going to finish any higher than P20. But then, if it is the car, then how did Alex manage to qualify so well at certain tracks? Australia had 4 DRS zones, and Azerbaijan has really long DRS zones. Did he just take advantage of the Williams' straight line speed, or did he put in a heck of a performance? Is the car just good at 1 lap pace and absolutely terrible over the course of a full race? Can we blame the car for his mistake at Australia, or did Alex just bin it? In my opinion, I think he just binned it. There's a lot of questions, and as the biggest Alex Albon fan, I want it to be the car. But with his teammate underperforming, it's really hard to tell. He's put in some very solid qualifying performances and 1 or 2 impressive race performances, but with a slow teammate and a questionable car, I can't say if he's having a good year or not. Hopefully by the summer break we'll have some more performances and data to go through and make a more solid critique. But for now, I'm just hoping he can add a few more points to his tally and get in a faster car before he finds himself out of F1 again for one reason or another. Let me know what you guys think. Is Alex performing well in a difficult car? Is Sargent making him look a lot better than he is? Do you think I'm making excuses for Alex because I'm his biggest fan and my wife should get off my back because this is a totally healthy obsession? Let me know in the comments section down below, and if you think I've earned it, feel free to leave a like or subscribe. Remember to eat your bok choy, stay tuned for more, and I'll see you in the next one.